If you ever found yourself wondering, what am I doing here? Maybe you were considering changing the job because it doesn't serve the purpose, it doesn't give you pleasure anymore. Maybe you're coming out of a relationship and you start questioning yourself, who was I in that relationship? Why did it go wrong? Maybe someone in your life suggested to you that you're going through middle life crisis. Maybe you were going through big changes in your recent past, and they affected somehow your sense of not only being but sense of self. So you finding yourself asking those big questions: what is my purpose here? Who am I? Where am I going with this? You sort of searching for more meanings, reasons. You chasing for passions in your life, right? Maybe you are questioning things such as values, spirituality, beliefs, interests, major things that have impact on the way you feel about yourself. So, um, other than somebody advising you, maybe you should look into middle life crisis, you might actually be the subject to identity crisis. So, what is this identity crisis? There's no way for me to describe it unless I refer to it first, unless I address first what is identity. So, identity is the way we define the way we feel about ourselves, and this will include values, it will include belief system, it will include traits of our personality, the roles that we play in our life or choose to play in our life, as well as in society and in the family units as well. But also, your identity is the memories, like pieces of puzzles coming together, creating who you are, right? So on the flip side of it, the identity crisis is a crash, yeah, a conflict, a crisis uh, in your developmental journey. That's why you might find yourself questioning your choices, and maybe the sense of self is no longer the same to you. Yeah. So an identity crisis uh, is well researched um, and very common, believe it or not, phenomena. It can happen to you anytime, at any age. It could happen to anyone, actually. And in psychology, in developmental psychology, it was Erik Erikson who believed that our personalities, they can only develop if we bypass crises. There are many crises, not only identity crises. So throughout the lifespan, he recognized trust versus mistrust, then shame versus doubt, shame versus doubt, being having initiative versus feeling guilty, having industry versus feeling inferiority, and then he mentioned also identity versus role confusion. Intimacy versus isolation was another crisis that he believed that people going through, generativity versus stagnations, and ego versus despair. So as you can see, there's many things that happen to you on the lifespan. So this identity crisis phenomena, according to psychology, developmental psychology, is just one of many stages, milestones in your life. Now, if you want to look at identity crisis from spiritual perspective, then you've probably gathered that these questions that you've been asking yourself for quite some time now, they're very existential. They leading you to find yourself in the midst of unknown, in the midst of non-material world, the non-materialistic world. They leading you to an idea that you are not alone here, that this life is more than just sitting, eating, going to work, enjoying your time, having children, and so forth. There's more meaning to life. So if you are on the anywhere on that spectrum, perhaps you're going through spiritual awakening as well. But nevertheless, psychology, developmental psychology would class it as an identity crisis. So shall we just concentrate on that from that angle? So as I said, it can happen to you at any time, but most likely or not, an identity crisis you will come to your life when things are changing in your life, where when you are faced with challenge that sort of shakes the very core of your sense of being, your sense of who you are. Yeah. So other those changes, and other than the fact that it is completely normal to question yourself, to look for meanings. It is a human thing, actually, to find your way, to find your individuality around everything that's going on. And there is the caveat here. Um, um, Many people, they think that having mental health conditions like bipolar disorder or depression or borderline personality disorders, they think that all those symptoms, all those diagnoses, they by default mean that those people have identity crisis, or they're confused. That's not truth. It is true that they can increase the likelihood those symptoms for people to develop identity crisis, but one doesn't really means another, right? So what to do? What to do? I think the first best thing is to give yourself credit. Try to look around, try to sit down with yourself and get an understanding what has changed in your life. You know, identify those stressors. So maybe you just got married, you just had a baby, or you were moving houses, or maybe you get separated or divorced, or somebody died. Maybe important relationship has ended, like friendship, you know, anything kind of traumatic in your life that no wonder shocked you to the very core. Maybe you lost a job, yeah? Maybe you have health issues. Maybe the social support around you is not really giving you as much help as you need to. So have a look around, you know, give yourself a credit. And then again, I think it's important if you have those existential moments in your life to actually sit down with yourself, take a piece of paper, take a pen, and scribble down what qualities and characteristics really define you. If you need help, ask others. Ask them question. You know, who do you think you are? Who do you think I am? What do you appreciate about me? What do you like about me? What do you dislike about me? You know, try to think how this changed over years as well. That will be very helpful and therapeutic, because you will see that you are in fluidity. You as a sense of self is always changing. It's always a flex. There's always a flex about it. If you indeed experiencing those major life changes, try to figure out how did you adapt it to it? How did it change? You know, give yourself a credit again. Are you happy with those changes? I mean, ask yourself a question. Are you happy with those changes? Some situations you cannot control, but how did you really felt about it? Yeah, regardless whether you adopted to it or not. How did you, you know, ask yourself a question, did I cope with those changes? How did I cope with those changes? And, you know, scribble down, what are your values now? Yeah. What are your passions? What are your hobbies? What do you love doing? What gives you that buzz, right? Do you like the work that you're doing? Um, and then concentrate on what grounds you. Yeah, what helps you throughout struggles. Um, I don't know what values, what purposes of life are important to you, or you thought they were important to you, and they no longer play such a high, such a very high value in your life anymore. And why? And then look for support. Remember, uh, this is very human thing to do. That place where you are is absolutely normal. So you might be actually surprised to find out that others, they've been on that journey before you, or maybe they actually go through that journey with you as we speak. So talk to your friends, to your parents, to your family members, anyone who really trusts you, who really sees you. If it's your community, if it's a congregation, a new group, a meetup group, support group, mental health support group, find a therapist and try to put things into perspective, right? Um, Spend some time on considering also your goals in life. Maybe there's something that you, in terms of your needs, that is unfulfilled by your environment for a very long time, and it won't be. Maybe it's time for you to, come, become more independent. Try to think what goals in life you haven't fulfilled yet. What were your ambitions? What needs in terms of your developmental needs are not fulfilled yet, right? And try to satisfy it. Try to bring it home for yourself. Try to figure out what is it that you need to make yourself feel more fulfilled. All right. I hope that was helpful. I will see you in the next video. Don't forget again to subscribe to YouTube channel ajstherapy.com, when you can learn more about mental health, but also healing, holistic healing methods and techniques. Okay, that was Aisha. Thank you very much.